Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to Beer Bullstein, everyone. I am Lyle Armstrong, your host of this evening. Welcome. War in Iran. We cut through the bullshit so everybody could see what's actually going on with the truth. It has been an eventful 24 hours around here, and we're going to go through and try to analyze exactly what's going on, who's to blame, what's actually happening, and why. Why? That's the big question, isn't it, folks? Let's actually take a look what's going on down right here. First off, I want to thank SHR Media for hosting this. The boys over there are doing real good work. Please like, subscribe, follow, hit that little button there. Make sure you get all of the content all of the time. Visit shrmedia.com. You can see all of the great articles that are being put out daily, almost, and all of the other shows that are coming out almost daily. I think the only day that we don't have something going on right now is Sunday, so this is actually kind of a good thing. I do believe we're going to have something going on tonight with BZ and his saloon. Thank God he is recovering. That's going to be a good thing. He had a little mishap with some ice. Happens to the best of us, Hell, he's a lot stronger than I am. I would have been out for like a month. But anyway, let's get on into it. War in Iran. What is going on with that? Well, let's just get right into it then, shall we?
Fox News has learned from a senior Israeli security official. Israel assesses that more than 40 senior Iranian security and regime figures were killed in strikes during the opening operation that Israel launched this morning with the United States
40
against the Iranian regime. This official goes on to say this is one of the largest regime decapitation operations conducted in modern warfare history, and that Israeli intelligence managed to infiltrate the Iranian security echelon, making the strikes possible, this official explained. But again, this news just coming into us, we were able to confirm it, that a senior Israeli official telling Fox News more than 40 senior Iranian security and regime figures were killed in the opening strike this morning. And John and Sandra, as you can hear on our phones here, and we're going to stay here. Our security is giving me the nod to stay here. Mm-hmm. Tel Aviv is under a significant attack right now. And again, this news breaking that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, has been killed. We are now reporting exclusively that 40 senior regime figures were also killed in the strikes. The Iranians are going to try to target as much of Israel as possible, and that's exactly what is happening right now.
Yeah. So there you have it. 40 Iranian top thing. They just cut the head off the snake. Joining me tonight, we're going to bring in a special guest, Sackhead Sean. Welcome. Let me pull you up here and put you on the right there. Got you on the phone there. Sorry, bringing you in there for your expert analysis.
I don't know about expert, but I can certainly have an opinion.
There you go. This actually started right about 4 a.m. on the East Coast. There was a joint strike between the United States and the Israelis. I do believe the UK guys were running backup. I don't believe that they actually ran strikes themselves, but they were doing air refueling and AWACS missions, which was a nice thing. At least they're backing up their allies.
kind
What
of
do you think about all this? You know, with the Ayatollah being taken out, I mean, that's 47 years of tyranny being taken out in one strike.
Yeah, and you know, a guy that both sides of the political aisle in this country have called for the removal of, a guy who has spread terrorism all over the world, not just the Middle East, a guy who's been responsible for the deaths of thousands of Americans, either directly or indirectly, a guy who has declared that certain countries, namely Israel and America, should not exist on the planet. And a guy who, whenever his people were upset with his leadership, instead of hearing them out or holding an election or stepping down or whatever, he executed them. So it is, the world is a better place. Whether you are happy with the decision that Trump made or not, the world is a better place right this moment than it was at 4 o'clock this morning on the East Coast. What's going to come out of this? We can all speculate. I'm sure that there's some sort of contingency plan. I know Marco Rubio is probably getting ready to become the leader of a new country. No, I mean, there's speculation that the Shah is going to be stepping in. There's speculation of a lot of things, but you know, it's one of those things that it was amazing to me that it didn't happen sooner.
Yep.
I think Iran has always been the hot potato that no administration wanted to deal with. And look, I said when Trump was elected, I am not for long wars. I'm not for forever wars. I'm not for getting involved in places where we don't belong. But Iran has regularly impacted Americans at home and abroad. Iran is not the useful idiots that everyone thinks they are. Iran has, you look at Ukraine, you look at half the drones and missiles that are falling in Ukraine, they're Iranian made. And
every explosively formed projectile that was used against us in Iraq was Iranian made
as well.
So I feel you.
And I don't know. Look, I don't know what people were expecting, that if Iran somehow got nuclear weapons, they were all of a sudden going to turn the corner and be wonderful people like North Korea. You know what I mean? So at some point, yeah, I'm not a big fan of dropping bombs when we don't have to, but you also, when you're the leader of a free country and opportunities are presented to remove an evil that is not just this generation evil, we're talking, like you said, almost 50 years of evil, that has murdered tons throughout the world. And you've now made the Middle East a better place. You've made the world a better place. And look, we all know how the Middle East is. Like, none of us are blind to Middle East policies, Middle East technology, not technology, Middle East geopolitics. I've been doing this as a pundit or a podcaster and observing the politics for the last 15 years. I've been a student of history. We know what the Iranians were capable of and what they were doing. And when you have an opportunity to make the world a better place, and you nut up and actually do it, like I said, for how many years have people on both sides of the aisle, including Obama and Biden and Democrats today, saying that the Ayatollah needed to be gone? We needed to get rid of him. He needs to go away. Now, granted, Obama did that while sending him pallets of money.
True.
And Trump did it by sending him pallets of missiles. So it's a different approach between the two leaders. But I was shocked you mentioned the UK being involved. I was actually shocked that the UK was at all involved. I was under the impression, very much so, that the UK would sit this out because they're afraid of unrest at home. I'm glad they did the right thing. I'm glad they were refueling. I know they were taking up defensive positions. I know their air defense was activated in some places, yada, yada, yada. So I will give credit where it's due. They stepped up. I will also notate that Iran showed everybody exactly who they were, because as soon as they started to get what they deserve, so to speak, as soon as they found out after fucking around for 40-something years, they started lobbing missiles at their neighbors.
Exactly. And that's actually going to start an entire problem. But let's take a break here for a second and let's see what Tom Cotton actually has to say about this. Oops, I think I hit the wrong button. There we go.
Well, Brett, I commend President Trump for making the difficult but absolutely necessary decision to join our partners in Israel to eliminate once and for all the threat that Iran's outlaw regime has posed to the United States for 47 years. Iran has been waging a campaign of terror against the United States and our friends since they took over the country in 1979. That started with holding American citizens hostage for more than a year in our embassy, blowing up the Marine barracks in Beirut in 1983, blowing up Khobar Towers barracks in Saudi Arabia, killing and maiming thousands of troops in Iraq and Afghanistan with deadly roadside bombs. We cannot allow such a regime to have a nuclear weapon. We cannot allow them to have thousands of missiles that can hit all of our bases, not just in the Middle East, but in Europe, and also one day hit us here in the United States. So this is an absolutely necessary operation. I commend President Trump, and I join all Arkansans and all Americans in praying for the safety and the success of our troops in their mission. Well, Brett, I commend President Trump for...
That's a pretty strong thing from Tom Cotton. Tom Cotton has generally been a non-interventionist kind of guy. Kind of an interesting take coming from him, which is an interesting thing. I do agree with him. Iran has been the backers of Hezbollah. They have been the backers of Hamas. They have been the backers of every single attack that has happened in Iraq, especially during my time there. Funny story, I actually got to see one of their experimental explosive form projectiles roll off a truck in front of me once. It was a 3,000-pound one. I don't know what it was designed to take out. It was probably a mountainside.
Maybe that's how they were digging to put the nuke plants in.
Exactly. What are we going to say? I mean, I'm looking at some of the chat here. What do you guys think about this here? I see some things going on here. You know, British were actively helping us move jets over the Atlantic with the RAF tankers. Absolutely. These guys are actually, they are our allies. They just don't want to be actively pulling the trigger, so that's actually a good thing,
Well, they've kind of treated us like the moped that they love to get on and ride. But they don't want to tell any of their friends about. And look,
it's like fat girls,
Exactly. I give them credit, and obviously, any sort of criticism I have for the United Kingdom government has to do with the government itself, and not the boys and girls that are actually making shit happen, especially in the military. So understand that, chat. Hopefully. Do I wish that they were more involved? Yeah, because this affects them as much as it affects everybody else. But Keir Starmer is so afraid of the political backlash in his country that he went as far as he could without actually causing rioting. And I'm sure it's still going to cause unrest. There's unrest already in America too. The dial-a-mobs are already out in the street corners, and it's amazing how quickly you can get signs made.
Oh yeah, Amazon's a beautiful thing.
They've been ready probably for 2 weeks. They just had to be distributed. They were pre-ordered and pre-designed. What's going to be interesting now is what happens next. And obviously, bombs are still falling. It's not over yet, right?
Nope.
We're still in the middle.
As we speak, there's a fire in Dubai from a suicide drone, is what they're calling it. Where Iran actually flew a drone. This is a leaderless country right now. As you can see, this is some of the top 7 right here. We're actually talking 40 were eliminated, but as you can see, the minister of defense
would be so happy that they got the top 40.
Right, 40. I mean, and how many cards are in a deck of cards? 52. I mean, we used to walk around with cards.
Kasem in America's top 40 joke. It's time for you to go to bed.
No, this is Casey Kasem, and on with the countdown.
Yeah, no, this was just short of a deck of cards, and I said earlier on X, and your expertise would be better at this than mine. I'm just a pundit. You've actually been over there. It did seem kind of amazing to me that they would have any of their leadership currently in anything but a bunker. And
it makes you wonder if they sat there wondering if they should have all been in the same room together.
Yeah, and how does that even happen? Like, is that how unbelievably stupid they are, or how unbelievably cocky they were about? I kind of wonder if it's not the same thing that was happening with Putin at the beginning of the Ukraine war, where he was so convinced certain things would happen, and then we found out months in that everybody was lying to him about what was actually happening in the Ukraine war. You wonder if the Ayatollah and other leaders were not being fed certain lines about how wonderful our defenses are, even though they just got rocked, 7-8 months ago by Israel.
Exactly.
It's incredible to me that happened like that. And if that's truly the case, if they were in some giant meeting, karma's a bitch. It's almost like when you see the mob get arrested with 20 guys because they're having a mob meeting somewhere. And it's like, how did this happen? It's like, well, you morons all showed up at the same place.
Exactly. So let's hear from the other side, though, from a woman that I absolutely cannot stand, and I'm probably going to throw up when I hear her voice. But you know what? We got to hear from both sides here because we are fair here on Beer and Bullstein. Elizabeth.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Look, I would have signed a waiver to hear this woman speak if I thought you were going to do this to me. But go ahead.
The waiver it's coming.
Donald Trump is taking the United States into war on his own with no authorization from Congress. He is willing to sacrifice American lives for what? For regime change? For a war that the president's own top military advisor has warned will be incredibly dangerous? For a war built on lies? For a war that won't make us safer? I want to be clear. The United States had a deal that could have prevented Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That was...
All right, let's stop there real quick.
Let's beat me to it. Go for it.
Oh, let's stop right there for a second. That deal was brokered by the Obama administration. That deal that she is speaking about, for those that aren't aware, included a 3-week pause with UN inspectors when they wanted to come in and inspect nuclear plants for enriched uranium. It included that 3-week pause of, hey, guys, we want to see if you're coming in here and making nuclear weapons. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I can move a country in 3 weeks. Okay? Saddam Hussein moved a whole bunch of chemical weapons in 3 weeks. Okay? You can believe the lies or whatever, but you know what? We actually watched them live on ISR platforms. This is 100% propaganda video right now that we're looking at.
And look, it's funny how they start crying it's an illegal war when they had no problem when Obama took out Gaddafi in Libya. All the other drone strikes that were done by Obama drone struck an American citizen, and whether he was a ginormous piece of garbage human being. Don't get me wrong, he was. But the simple fact of the matter is, you had the opportunity to go in and get him and pull him out and make him face prosecution. He chose to drone strike him and his 16-year-old kid. I am so sick and tired of the left talking about every time they grasp their pearl necklace. Their pearls, clutch their pearls. And act like this has never happened before. And they talk about it being illegal, like they have and this is the problem. You and I talked about this. You talked about it in your show yesterday, your first show, which you did a wonderful job yesterday.
Thank you.
We talk about reading source documents, right? And part of source documents are not just the founding documents, but documents that are relative today, like the War Powers Act in '73, and what that actually did and what that gave power to. And I think when they say illegal wars, I'll fix that, by the way, so it works the other way around. Yeah, I know. I'll get to it. The War Powers Act is not what they keep trying to sell this as. First and foremost, So the Democrats under Biden for the first 2 years could have changed the War Powers Act at any moment. They had the House, they had the Senate, and they had the executive branch. If they didn't like the way the current War Powers Act were, they could have changed it. And they chose not to. Why? Because this has been a political fundraising law that they've used since 73.
Exactly.
Here's how the War Powers Act works. Within 48 hours of hostilities, we have to notify certain members of Congress. Not all of Congress. It doesn't have to be public, which it's funny that she knew this was coming 2 days ago. 60 days afterwards, after that report is filed with Congress, the president can get a formal declaration of war or specific authorization from Congress. If he fails to do so, he has 30 days to withdraw all troops. That was passed in 73. We're not talking about, what is it, Article 1, Section 8. We're not talking about declaration of wars. This is the same War Powers Act that got us into in and out of numerous different conflicts throughout the world, whether you like it or you don't like it. This is it. And any member of Congress who's now suddenly crying this needs to be changed is full of shit. So full of shit, their eyes are brown. So that's the War Powers Act sum up. That's how this works. And like I said, Obama's used this. I think, didn't Biden use this one time? I want to say it was there was strikes in Africa that he used this one time for.
He did it. He did.
Trump,
I don't have the exact thing in front of me right now, but yes,
I
he
can't
did.
remember which one it was. Trump used this in Syria when he launched Tomahawks at the Syrian base. Obama used this. So many people don't realize how many people Obama killed with drone strikes. They act like
he was the drone strike in chief. I mean, come on.
And look, I'm not even against some of the people that he used the drone strikes for. Like, bad people need to go away. At that point, he was still operating under the War on Terror, but the War on Terror was not an actual declared war.
Nope.
We haven't declared actual war since, I think, what, 1947?
1942, actually.
Oh, 42. That makes way more sense. Is the last time we declared war. Vietnam was not a declared war. Korea was a police action. All of this was the War Powers Act. And they want this because each side knows there may come a point where the president will have to do something like this. Right? And whether you like it or not, when your person does or not, and I'll tell you right now, Democrats seem really, you got to feel for them. They're having a rough time because their favorite guy in Venezuela recently got yoinked. And that's hurting them, obviously, emotionally. Another forever war that they said we were going to get into that we're not into. Remember, we said, we're going to war. He's going to get us into this forever war, blah, 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 blah. Nope, that didn't seem to happen. When we bombed the Iranian nuke plants, we were getting into a forever war. Oh, my God, forever war. We're once again in a forever war. That didn't seem to happen. But we're all for putting boots on the ground in an actual forever war that's happening in Ukraine right now.
Yeah, see, I'm totally against that.
I am. That's something that should have been done regionally, and it's something that could have been avoided completely by Biden.
Exactly.
And he refused to do that. And the problem is Iran is not a new issue like Ukraine, which
no, this goes back to the 70s.
This goes back to the 70s. And Iran is killing people all over the world, including Americans. Russia and Ukraine is between Russia and Ukraine. Now, whether you like the war, whether you don't like the war, that's a much more realistic, that's the reality of it, is it's not branching out across other people. It's not branching out into other countries. There aren't Russian terrorists that are showing up at a discotheque in Germany, blowing up the American military members, or bombing barracks, or bombing this or that. So it's interesting to me, and this is we're in a new age of doing stuff like this, and you saw it a lot more with Iraq, right? But
your tax.
I mean, nuclear weapons are a nasty, nasty deal.
Absolute leaders around the world who are, but these.
Come listen to BZ's
The modern designs. We've got something for everyone. Wear your beliefs proudly with 7 Armor's gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
How y'all doing? This is Beer and Bullstein. Welcome back to the show. We're trying to figure out what's going on with the YouTube guys, but hey, we're going to continue on pressing on smartly with our show tonight. Tonight I have with me Sackhead Sean. He has given us some really good insight into what's going on over here in Iran after the attacks. All of that good stuff. Hey, it looks like our YouTube stuff is actually coming back up here. It is back. Hello, YouTubers. How are you? My name is Lyle Armstrong. I am the founder of the Feast here at Beer Bullstein, hosted by SHR Media. Those guys are awesome. While we're talking about SHR Media, I would love for you guys to come on over here. Let me pull this up here real quick. I would love for you guys to come over here and check out the SHR Media shop. For the 250 reasons to read source document shirts, guys, this shirt is absolutely awesome. It's comfy as all hell. Makes you sexy, makes you smarter. You can actually come down here. You can get beer mugs, you can get hoodies, all that other good stuff. If you use code FREEDOM gets you 10% off in the shop. BZ Saloon, I actually need to buy that one, and Mission Ready Man, and the Reaver, and the Edge of Liberty. You know what? I want all of them because these guys have been so awesome to me. I want to support back. And I'm going to actually probably do that tonight after the show. So join me, code FREEDOM, get 10% off your order, and it's a very, very fast shipping. They get it right to your door. Absolutely awesome. So my name, again, is Lyle Armstrong. I am a 22-year veteran of pretty much every war you probably ever heard of. And I was an EOD tech, or explosive ordnance disposal technician. Let me turn this music down just a tad. There we go. I was explosive ordnance disposal technician, which means I defused roadside bombs. I shot bad guys, and I pretty much was in places that I shouldn't have been. A lot. The beard is here because I went 22 years where they said you couldn't shave, and now I refuse to. So this is kind of the only place where I can grow a beard. The rest comes in all white trashy. So that's kind of where we're at. My co-host, as always, is Cartier, my service dog. She is sitting right here, still wearing her vest, because today we're wearing my OCP, my Master Sergeant Armstrong OCP Wooby vest, because we are at war with Iran. They decided to fuck around and find out. Looks like we took out 40 of their top leaders, to include the Ayatollah. The head of their intelligence, to their head of pretty much everything. Now we have a headless snake fighting back, throwing missiles in every single direction you could possibly think. We have a hotel in Dubai on fire. We have missiles landing in Tel Aviv. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on. I'm going to bring up Mr. Sackhead Sean here again. Here he is. Get him back here so we don't look at my glorious pants. And thankfully, I am actually wearing pants today. Are you wearing pants today, Sean?
I refuse to answer that question.
Good on you. Good on you.
I have my constitutional rights that I don't have to answer that. I think you have to present me a lawyer first.
I love it. Oops. Now I've been watching the chat here today. We were talking about some people are saying, oh, it's all propaganda. The celebrations are all just propaganda and all that other good stuff. So what I wanted to sit here for a second, and I wanted to actually show. This is in L.A. of all places.
Populations outside of the Middle East. You see the gathering there behind her. Julia, how is the Iranian community responding?
Well, this gathering has only grown, Jessica, over the past few hours, since
this is LA. Here. This is the largest Iranian population outside of Iran.
Number of people, and the celebration is striking. We got here just moments after initial rumors of the death of Ayatollah Khamenei had just started to trickle from Iran to this diaspora community, and people were jumping in excitement, hugging each other, crying, saying that basically they've been waiting 47 years for this very day, Jessica. It is the reason so many of them have come out here today. I want you to hear from one of them specifically, his thoughts right after learning that the supreme leader of Iran was dead.
When is the last time you saw people in Israel and Iran dancing on the streets in excitement? And when is the last time you've ever heard of a country coming out and dancing because they're excited that foreign powers are attacking them?
Now, the name of Reza Pahlavi.
Now, I want to pause there. Now, I'm sure that because this is CNN, that guy said something incredibly profound right after that.
They cut it right out. No, and
right
you know
there.
What? The amount of Democrats who are already shitting on Iranian individuals and relatives of Iranian and people that immigrated here is astronomical to me. It's right back to Venezuela, where you had these liberal Democrats telling the Venezuelans they shouldn't have been happy about what happened with Maduro. And you're seeing that same sort of approach taken today, where you shouldn't be happy about this. I saw some patriot girl or whatever her name is on X who claims to be conservative, but she's not. And she was like, I can't believe that Trump forced me to finally, side with the Iranian regime and leadership in this moment. And I said to myself, you just chose the bear. Remember that whole argument that the
bear and the women and the woods?
The feminists were having last year about choosing the bear over the guy. You just chose the bear out of spite. Like, if you hate Trump,
I choose the dog over the woman. I'm just going to say, much more loyal.
If that door opens and the screen goes black, we all know what happened.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
Well, just not to interrupt though, but I do have a good thing. Do you know how I know that my dog is better than my wife? If I put my wife and my dog in the trunk of my car and come back 4 hours later, which one do you think is going to be happy to see me?
It's incredible to me that they don't even have there. And I talk about this on my show a lot on the Edge of Liberty. The left is so emotionally hijacked and bankrupt that they can't even have the wherewithal to say something to the effect of, I am really glad the Ayatollah is dead. He was a piece of shit. I don't like how Trump did it. Because at least if you say that, you're now having an intelligent set of discourse.
Well, and that's the problem with the left is you only have victim and oppressor. It's a binary type system, which is ironic because you're talking about a system that, people like uphold the non-binary people. It's a one or the other thing rather than hey, there might be a third, fourth, and fifth view of this. Do I like the fact that we are going out and bombing another country? I don't. I'm a non-interventionalist or interventionalist. I don't like the fact that we're going and getting involved and get my brothers and sisters involved in putting them in harm's way. I don't like it, especially when we're talking about, okay, we're backing up Israel. Yes, they are allies. We call them allies. We've been talking about them as allies. The problem with it, as a constitutionalist, where's the treaty?
Right. And that's
you see what I'm saying?
And the problem is we're to the place in society, in our country, where people have sidestepped all that shit through the decades. And this isn't a new thing.
Exactly.
It's been going on for years. I laugh at all the people who are convinced that Israel controls the country. And I know about the money that's going into Congress and what's at AIPAC and all that stuff. I get that. But if you think, and it tells you like how people will cope however they need to. Do you think that everybody in government through decades are too stupid to see through being manipulated and used? Or do you think maybe they go, yeah, they get a lot from us, but we also get a lot from our friendship with them that's worth it to the enemy of the enemy is my friend sort of thing. And that's worst case scenario. What people fail to realize is Israel and Mossad do all the things that our CIA is not allowed to do, whether you like them, whether you hate them, whether you think they should, whether you think they shouldn't. The simple fact of the matter is, if you're the American government and there are certain people that are so problematic, they need to be removed. A great example was bin Laden. Mossad warned us about bin Laden. We had eyes on bin Laden. I forget the CIA operative who said this or who was assigned to this. He was a guy who was in the military. Fat Electrician did a whole piece on him. He was awesome. But he was in Djibouti, and he was 30 feet from bin Laden and said, hey, I can take this guy out before he kills again. This is way before 9/11, and the Clinton administration.
That was 93.
93. And the Clinton administration said no.
Don't do it.
Whereas if we turned around and we said to Mossad, hey, can you do us a favor? And they would have went, oh, yeah, no, that's fine. We unalive people all the time in other countries. That's
the unhealthcare system.
The unhealthcare system, 100%. I mean, look at what they did. What was it in Qatar, where they blew up the Iranian officials that were in Qatar 6 months ago, 8 months ago? They blew up the hotel room. You know, whether you like them or not, the simple fact of the matter is, Israel is a country that's been surrounded by people who've wanted them dead for years. That's gotten better recently, with a lot more countries becoming more realistic about their existence. However, that has formed them into this unbelievable intelligence organization that they have with Mossad, and it's honed who they are as a people of, no, we're going to get you before you get us.
Exactly.
And then when they let their guard down, which they did just prior to October 7th, they let them you get an October 7th style attack. That is literally what happens when they start to loosen the taps, when they start to go easier with their intel, when they're not being as aggressive with their vetting and all that stuff. You get October 7th.
Exactly.
And so now you have, and by the way, October 7th wouldn't have happened if Iran leadership wasn't who they were. And so now you have the opportunity for America. The potential of nukes right there is the biggest one, but then all the other terrorism things. If you're Israel and you're all these other countries who are now jumping on board because Iran just was like an idiot, just starting to lob rockets and missiles wherever
and
they
completely imploding. Yeah.
You know, you saw the Saudi government, which I have no love for the Saudi government, but even the Saudi government's like, oh no, we're in.
They're absolutely in. And the reason why, if you take a look at it, I believe it was in Tawadi, they actually took a rocket tonight. They launched into Saudi Arabia. Now, this is all a Sunni versus Shia type thing. If you didn't know, it's kind of like the Catholics versus the Protestants, with 1960s RPGs. It's pretty much what's going on
in the Middle East.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So the problem with the war that goes on, it's for those that aren't educated with the Muslim prophecy of the end of the world. The Muslims believe with the Sunni and the Shias, like the end of the world is going to come about in two different ways, but it all comes down to how they get there, and that's where the difference between the Sunnis and the Shias become. Now, the problem with all of that is that starts wars. It's kind of like it's kind of like the Catholics and the Protestants, where the Catholics add books to the Bible and the Protestants say no, that kind of deal. So,
well, and as we get further into this, and obviously information's all new, and information is very limited right now as to what information we had and what intel we had. You have to think at some point there were Iranian officials cooperating on some level.
I do want to address one thing in the comments, because I normally don't go to the comments, but I do have to go to the comments right now. I don't even want to pronounce the dude's name. He calls us idiots, which, probably true. Believes everything the news tells you until they say something you don't like, and then it's fake news. You know what, brother? I don't listen to the media. I go get my own intel. I have been in the military and the intel circles for, it's over 30 years now. I don't need Fox News or CNN or MS Now or whatever the news tells me to tell me what's going on. I bring these clips because they're available on X, so you guys can see what's going on. The intel I get come from actual intel people. That's where we're coming from. If it's fake news, I'll call out fake news because I know it's fake news. not because, MS Now told me so far. So let's take a look, though, because we were being called out earlier about,
before you go on, I just want to point out one thing. These are the same people who are like, oh, you follow whatever you said, you follow whatever Trump says and blah, 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 blah. And I laugh.
Fuck Trump. I don't care.
Because for years, Trump just happened to be a president that finally showed up that did things that I agreed with.
Thank you.
That doesn't mean my position has changed at all. And it was like that before Trump got there. And you can go, I have the luxury of saying, go back to my shows 15 years ago. I'm the same person that I was in my opinions. Some things have modified based on new factual information.
That's called being principled.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm an adult. At least I try to be. All right. I play one on YouTube. But that doesn't change the fact that I don't need fake news. I don't listen to look, just because your parents and you were raised in front of a TV of only doing what news people told you does not mean the rest of the world does. I haven't had a cable subscription in 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. And I'm not going to. I don't believe in that. I read my news most of the time, and usually it's not from American sources.
Nope. And it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's usually from 4 different sources.
Yeah.
Just to see what the actual, the actual truth is.
You go to each end of the lie, and then you try to find the truth somewhere in the middle.
Speaking of the truth, here it is. Let me pull this up a little bit higher. Celebrating in the streets after they heard the Ayatollah was dead. That's dancing in the streets from Iran.
When's the last time that's ever happened in Iran?
Weird, right? That's just, but it's not happening. That's just Jewish propaganda, right?
That's
completely
amazing. I had a friendship, and she's since passed on, with a woman who fled when the Shah fell from Iran. She was a much older woman, and she passed 4 or 5 years ago now. But in the 10 years prior that I knew her, she absolutely wished this day would come every single day.
Yep.
She had family that were murdered by the Islamic regime. She had family that were imprisoned by them. She entirely told you exactly who they were and how the majority of that country, outside of the core nucleus that took over the country, didn't believe in anything that the Islamic regime did. And it breaks your heart when you hear the stories of what the country was before the Shah fell and what it was after. I know we propped up the Shah. I know we put the Shah in place. I know Iran's history. Been doing this a long time. I get that. Yep. But if you go back through Persia, and it had issues all along, the guy we supported in the Shah just happened to stabilize things a little bit better, which was the goal. But the Middle East has always been a shitstorm, tribalistic area where everybody tried to get bigger to kill the other guy so they could take their stuff. You go back to Constantinople, and you go back to, look at I tell everybody, the war, the Marine Corps hymn has the verse of the shores of Tripoli in it for a reason. It's because Adams sent the Marines to kick their ass because they kept
Barbary pirates.
Yep, Barbary pirates. They kept trying to steal our boats and demand tribute for sailing in the waters that they didn't own,
and enslave our people.
When they didn't pay, they took them and enslaved them. Right. So that's also where Leathernecks, the nickname Leatherneck, came from, because of the gorgets that they would wear around their neck. So this has been going on, and American has been dealing with this since our inception, since
the founding,
our time. And as a world, it's been going on prior to that in the Middle East. You just had some nations who, more so in the last 20 years, have said, look, we don't want to fight anymore. We just want to get rich and have really nice cars.
Right? What's wrong with that?
We're going to do some quiet shit on the side, specifically UAE. who's fully involved in the Yemeni civil war right now. But
Exactly.
they're involved against Iran. That's where the proxy war between those two were. The Saudi Arabians also have a proxy war against Iran and Yemen. But they drew it way down, and they realized, hey, if we're shitty internationally, it's going to be bad for us. So they grew up. They modernized enough, at least. I don't agree with everything that happens in those countries, but those countries are not actively trying to murder people by and large on a regular basis and blowing up people who are going to work and killing babies and throwing grenades in cribs.
And throwing gay people off of buildings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I still love Queers for Palestine. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, go to Palestine and where wave
if you can find a building left, but
yeah. Well, now the fall wouldn't be that far, right? But it also shows you, like I was mentioned before, is why Israel deals with it the way Israel does, is because they've seen what happens when you wait too long. They've been through the 7-day war, this, that, and the other thing, and they try to phrase it. The left loves to build things almost like they do with slavery in this country, how people today should be held accountable for something that's happened 200 years ago. The same thing of like, well, there was never an Israel in the Middle East. Okay, but they are now. They're there now. It's been a recognized nation since the 40s. So,
no. Let's back that up. Let's actually look at who owns that land. It's the Romans. All right.
Actually, let's go. Hold on, because I would say that it goes back even further. Hold on, I'm trying to think of the. What was it called when all of the continents were pushed together? Pangea, that's the one. It's
Pangea
owned. And nobody recognizes the Pangean rights to any of the countries these days, and I think that's disgusting and horrible, and I'm being sarcastic.
I mean, technically, the Philistines owned it at one point too. You know, I mean, we can sit there and argue who owns what and blah blah blah. You know, it's the same thing we have here in the United States. You know, we're stolen land. You know, this is called conquered land. You know, we brought civilization to.
Conquered land is how the entire world was formed for the most part. Everybody at one time or another was conquered.
See, I love these comments right here. I got to stop you. Trump sold his soul to Antichrist Jews in Israel.
That's like absolutely time he said that too.
You're so cute. You're absolutely cute, dude. I love the fact you're here. Thank you for
that IP
coming here.
address comes back to, because I bet you it's a warm, sandy place.
Probably. You're so cute. I love you. Keep coming back, man. That's absolutely lovely. Thank you for your support. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that other stuff, because I hope you're around for a long time.
Shout out to Marcus. Legit shout out to Marcus Allen for sending Jules through YouTube for the channel. So thank you so much. Please.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it just popped up on my end too. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Marcus. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
So as we
keeps the lights on.
It does. It helps keep the lights on, man. I was going to ask you, and I know you want to talk about where we go from here at some point, and I'll let you set that up. But
well, thank you. It's my show.
I know. It's politics, and I know we touched on this in America. And I'm going to tell everybody what you're going to hear out of the left, and you've already heard some of it today. It was an illegal war. It's a forever war. We're going to be stuck in this forever. We had no right to regime change. The same people that were totally okay with it under Obama. Which, by the way, when you make the comparison with Libya and Iran, people forget at that point, Gaddafi in Libya was kind of a caged animal, but not as aggressive anymore. The world had changed so much that he's lost his influence. It's possible too that he softened as he got older, or it could have been. It could have also been just out of complete self-preservation.
Well, if you go back to the Reagan era, okay, where we just happened to bomb the French embassy, in Libya, because they wouldn't let us use their airspace.
Well,
think of the message that sent. We missed. That type of deal.
My favorite part is that we even
that calmed him down a lot.
And that was what, 83 83, 84?
84, I believe. Yeah.
Operation El Dorado Canyon. Back then, we were able to put munitions through front doors of buildings, which is just mind-boggling to me. Yeah, but so you had a Gaddafi who, I mean, other than doing crazy shit, like when he came to the United States to speak at the UN, he rented half the Central Park in New York and set up tents everywhere. He was zany at the end, but he was almost like the eccentric celebrity, where it was like almost comical to watch him do weird sort of shit. But he wasn't hurting anybody like he was. He really had stopped a lot of that shit. The barracks bombings and the disco bombing in Germany and stuff. He had stopped that for the longest time. But what people don't realize, I had a guest on a couple weeks ago, Leah from the Leah Files on TikTok, and she's on Substack too. The U.S. wanted to run arms through Libya for the Syrian Free Army. That's why we had everything on the ground that we did. That was the whole reason of decapitating Libya, was so it would cause the insanity, unrest. They essentially said, look, taking out Gaddafi and letting the country go to shit is worth getting these arms into Syria to beat Assad.
And we now have a lovely movie called 13 Hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
That is exactly what happened, for that.
And a lot of the Democrats now that are going to oppose this were completely for that back then. And look, Gaddafi it was a shitbag, don't get me wrong. But if your goal was Assad, and I get it, he was Russian backed and you didn't want to have that fight. And Libya was just kind of on its own at that point. I mean, they were selling oil, they were getting money, whatever, arms, this, that, but they weren't as entrenched as Assad was. But if your goal was to take out the head of a state and destroy a country, why would you not just do it to Syria and take Libya out of because Libya was the easy target.
Libya was the easy target. And you can also, mask the fact that, your real target's Russia.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because Hillary hit the reset button. Everything was great with Russia.
Everything was great with them. We had a reset button.
We hit the reset button and then sold them everything under Uranium One.
Exactly. Which, by the way, she did that, and with the backing of the State Department. Which that just, oh my God. But let's take a look at this real quick. I want to take this because, we're be calling hypocrites and all that other good stuff. I want to show you. This is Iran.
The fact that we're getting video.
Me too. Yeah, it looks like downtown Chicago, right?
That's actually less violent there. In Iran, not Chicago.
That's absolutely downtown Chicago with all the worm riding all over everything and all that other good stuff. My point is, guys, this is absolutely 100% backed by the people who are there.
Oh yeah,
they have had so many riots. They've had so many protests. They've had protesters killed. They've had acid attacks. They've had all sorts of things going on for years. And they finally got this done and they're happy about it. But let's take another look real quick. I don't even know what to call this. I'm just going to play it and we're going to comment. All right. This is a blind comment.
I'm ready.
Oh, you're ready? Because I'm not even sure I'm ready. Here we go.
Don't let people tell you we have to choose between securing our borders and upholding the rule of law. Don't let anyone tell you the way we keep people safe is by dismantling due process. The Trump administration's tactic right now is to overwhelm us with information with the sole purpose of distracting, demeaning, and dividing us.
Hold on,
This
pause.
administration is invoking a
Pause this dude for a second.
227-year-old law.
Pause this dude. I love it.
I love the fact that now that we're getting too much information, it's a bad thing. And what he's saying is, you're not smart enough to handle all of this information that you're getting now, and you think you are, but you're really not, and that's a distractionary technique. Too much information is actually confusing you. But go ahead, let him speak.
To speed up mass deportations, stripping people of due process. This law, known as the Alien Enemies Act, was created.
This is, and for those that are saying that this is AI, this is from the congressperson's website. So if they're doing AI on their own website, then good on them.
In 1798 with the purpose of expanding the president's power to deport non-citizens from the United States during times of war. During times of war. They are detaining and deporting people with no due process or regard for legal residency in this country, all under the guise that we are at war right now. This is not the rule of law that MAGA Republicans claim to care so much about.
I want to stop there for a second. Oh, they're using an old law. Oh my God, it's an old law. Oh my God, you know what else is an old law? The freaking Constitution. All right. You know, I'm a huge Constitution guy. All right. But
didn't Biden try to block the Gulf of America thing by inserting an old law or something? No, he tried to block. Remember, he tried to block the drilling in the Gulf of America by trying to pull out a law from like 1898 or whatever it was.
Right. Now, the fun part is that's the thing about laws is until you repeal them, they're in effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
So that who cares how old a law is? Let's listen here a little bit more.
This is a harmful and indiscriminate application of an old law that strips real people of their civil liberties and the opportunity to chase life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
They came in illegally. I want to put that there real quick.
Yeah, and that is a criminal offense, contrary to people saying, well, it's only a civil. No, it's only a civil if you overstay your visa. And that can also turn into a criminal offense if there are contributing factors as well.
The reason due process exists is to both hold people who break the law accountable, but also to guarantee that innocent people don't get unfairly punished. The only way to protect a U.S. citizen from being wrongly rounded up and shipped to a dangerous foreign prison is to have a process to guarantee that you aren't deporting a U.S. citizen.
It's called having a driver's license or a birth certificate or a passport or some type of ID that says, hey, I live here and have been here for a while.
A process that already exists and should be used accordingly. This administration...
Wait a minute. She said the process already exists. What? Now I'm confused.
Yeah, no, this is what they do though. They cherry pick what they want. And the cool part is Jersey Joe on SHR Media a couple months ago, he broke down in a great article everything about immigration, start to finish, soup to nuts, before everything even kicked off in Minnesota. And it kills me how many laws have been on the books for years that would have stopped all of this if they were just enforced. Like you said, they were still active. They're still on the books. They're not repealed. I think it's amazing that Sarah McBride is talking about how the government's trying to confuse you, the individual, giving the circumstance that Sarah McBride lives under, is just irony at its finest, in my humble opinion, but that's neither here nor there.
Has already admitted that there is at least one person who has been imprisoned who they didn't intend to round up. And here's the kicker. They excused it by calling it a, quote, administrative error. And they are doing nothing to correct it.
I've made at least 20 administrative errors during this podcast alone. Go ahead.
All in violation of a court order and this individual's civil rights. How many more might there be? How many more could there be if there isn't due process? Where does this end? If they don't care about imprisoning an innocent person in this instance, then I'm not safe and you're not safe. None of...
You notice that she says, I'm not safe first.
Yeah. I'm not safe.
We all know. I'm not going into that. That's not the topic of this podcast.
Yeah, I was
we all know where that's going.
We're talking about war in Iran. This could completely disrail that conversation.
We're just going to knife hand that.
Yeah,
no.
Us are safe. Anyone could become an administrative error that they do nothing to correct. A threat to due process anywhere is a threat to due process everywhere. This is the MAGA playbook. They test how far they can push their authority.
Has anyone seen this playbook? Because I'd like to see the playbook. I'm just saying.
I want a copy of it too. They're going to say Agenda 2025. Hold on for a second, because I love how he says you're being robbed of due process. You know what's funny is how many people in this country are arrested on a regular basis and then released a short time later because facts showed up into the case that proved that they should not have been arrested. And every state has a process for unarresting people who have been arrested.
It's happened to me.
It's happened to a lot of people.
You know,
and it's an imperfect science. I mean, law enforcement isn't a perfect science. But once again, we do it better than any other country in the world as far as our criminal justice system, as flawed as it may be. It is still the most fair and free criminal justice system that you have going. So I love this. Oh, well, people are being unlawfully detained. No, they're being detained. And that's part of an investigation. When I worked in law enforcement, I was allowed to detain somebody until I did an investigation because I had reasonable suspicion that this person may be involved. So
every traffic stop is a detainment. I mean,
so I'm going to detain them. And then if I develop information that says that this person is not arrestable, there's no probable cause there, it does not go forward, then you would release them. But you don't just let people walk away who may be involved in a crime.
Exactly.
Authority until there is no one left to defend the rule of law and the integrity of our rights and our liberties. Democrats have been ready to address our broken immigration system with a comprehensive approach that secures our border and keeps us safe. There is a way.
But they'd never done anything, even though they own the House, the Senate, and the White House at one point.
To reform our immigration system, secure our border,
Twice.
and make this country
Obama did too.
safer. But the Trump administration is not doing that. MAGA Republicans have consistently exploited immigration to gain power. And now they're exploiting it
Stop.
Yep.
Hold on.
Hey, I'm exploiting it right now. I'm gaining power. Look at that, 62 concurrent voters. There you go. I'm gaining power.
Biden opened the borders and flooded the country in order to affect redistricting in this country and potential future votes. He absolutely did that, and she's claiming that the conservatives, by stopping that and enforcing the laws of our land, are exploiting illegals. Meanwhile, they're the ones who kept saying, well, without the illegals, not him specifically, but Pelosi and otherwise, if we don't have illegals, who's going to pick your cotton? Who's going to pick your strawberries? Who's going to dance on stage for you and serve you in a restaurant?
Right.
Who's going to build your houses? Oh, so we should be okay with slave labor now? Slave labor is acceptable as long as it fits your needs? Shut the fuck
Last time I checked, the 13th Amendment exists.
But he sure did.
Their power illegally. I simply can't stay silent on this abuse of power that puts all.
You know what? We could stop it right there. She just can't stay silent. I'm just gonna say that.
My apologies. I couldn't hit my mute button quick enough.
No, I'm done with that one. I'm completely done with that one. I just know, just absolutely no.
But this is just what you're going to get out of the left. Everything is a distraction. And look, like I said on X earlier, it's funny to watch them absolutely piss their pants right now, because yet another government that they're able to fundraise off of one way or the other might be coming to an end, like Venezuela did.
Exactly.
And even if they're not, I'm not saying they're necessarily getting direct money from Iran, but the Palestinian cause, which was entirely funded by Iran, benefited Democrats. So of course they're going to protect that, because that was a cash cow for them, 100% cash cow for them.
Mm-hmm. And on that, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp edge. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality. We fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch the Reaver in action. He is here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined, but one thing is for sure. He always tells it like it is. The Reaver of Common Sense.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
That is just about enough time for me to go to the bathroom and come back. Welcome back to Beer and Bullstein. I'm your host, Lyle Armstrong. We are here on the SHR Media platform, the number one conservative platform media, number one conservative media platform on all of these platforms, on YouTube, Spreaker, Rumble, Facebook. There's a whole number of other ones that I don't have in front of me, so I'm just kind of rattling them off as I go.
You'll learn.
I'll learn. I'm the new guy. I'll be flogged later. I'm sitting here with the boss right now. He's sitting there going, well, he's fired.
You know what? It's adorable when they first start walking. You'll love to see them, the baby steps stumbling, and that's all right. We'll get it.
We'll get it. I'm just kind of wobbling right now. Anyway, so we're coming back to this here. Let me turn this down just a tad. So, as we are going out, because we are coming to the end of our show, I would like final thoughts. What I'm looking at right now is what is going to happen coming now. Now, when I was in the military, we had a standing order, which was a kind of an interesting thing. And it kind of sounds really, really weird when you think about it to a non-military. What it comes down to is when all of your leaders are dead, all communications are cut off, find something and kill it. That was pretty much our orders, which is out of Iran right now. What's that?
I think to a point, but I also think that you're going to see a lot of people in that army, maybe not in the IRGC and maybe not in the leadership roles, but just completely defect.
Absolutely. But I'm also seeing some more warning signs coming.
Yeah, I think a lot of them were just there because it was the only thing in the country that paid. It's kind of what happens when you have socialism and you only work for the government, right? You have to do jobs you don't like. That's awesome. On every level, that's awesome.
There we go. A little bell there so you get subscribed and notified when we go live. Guys, love you. Be good. If you can't be good at it. Peace.